Hi, hello. So today is Thursdays, and well, we'll see if I'll be able to post today. My hair color is all over the place. I did put some like brown a few months ago, but now it's almost all gone. And I was blonde for like a long time. I think 2021 is when I first started bleaching my hair. So I do it at home. I don't really go to like a salon or anything. But now I'm trying to grow my hair out, grow my natural color back again. It's like a super dark brown. And it has grown quite a lot, but then the transition is difficult, right? Because it's like, so my hair is very frizzy, but we're going to ignore that. So I'm thinking of doing like a transition here, but leaving like the blonde chips, something like that. Also, my haircut is good. I feel like I'm getting back to feeling good about my hair. I really like, this is my favorite haircut ever, like in life, to have like the short back and longer in the front, because I like to do updos. So I have this long part that is easy to put up, but also I have this like nice movement, I guess, which is cool. So I think it's very versatile, and also makes it possible for me to like push my whole hair up, which is always good. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think I'll be able to do it this weekend, but maybe at the beginning of July. I'm already like thinking ahead to July, because this weekend I'll be busy and next weekend I'll be busy, so I won't really have time on my weekend to do anything. Yeah. So this week's been like food-wise been weird again. I mean, it keeps being weird, but I feel like I get hungry, but then I feel full with much less food than previously, and I keep not having like super crazy cravings or spending a lot of money on food, like eating on like restaurants and stuff, which is great, I guess. But that has got me thinking that then if that's what's happening, then I have to eat more veggies and more fruit, which is not something I've been doing so diligently. So this is a goal that I have for the next weeks to start doing. And I really like veggies. So my mom, she cooks, her food is always like full of like side dishes that are veggies, plant-based, and that has reflected in my way of cooking. It's very weird for me to cook without adding any vegetables, without adding anything that is like colorful in the food. That is a good thing. But this past week I haven't gone to the supermarket, so I really have to restock my veggies. And then I want to do some pickles. I did, I think 2-3 months ago, I did this cucumber, red bell pepper, and carrot pickles. It's like you cut them in sticks and then you pickle them, which is not as hard as you think. I think I know it's not everybody who likes pickles, but since we're talking about food, I think pickling things is one of the coolest, most fun things to do, because it's easy, it's flavorful, and you know, you can add that to anything. You can even just like eat it, depending on the type. You can just like eat it right from the jar. So what I like to do the most is pickling red onions, so I can add them like on top of toast, on top of any food really. And this cucumber, bell pepper, and carrot, that is delicious. And you can that one you can eat all by itself, like if you want to just. And I have stomach issues, so I feel sick often, and having that like sour thing to snack on is very useful. So this is part of my plan. And also I've been getting better at making an effort to have one piece of meat every day, which for me like is a challenge. I think I said it before, I'm not very much a meat person, but I got better at that. So I've been doing like one full meal a day. Of course I fail sometimes, but most days I've been having like a full meal with like all the food groups. So my next challenge is to eat more like green salad, and I want to go to the supermarket this weekend so I can do that, so I can buy some greens and start eating like one like bowl of greens every day, since I'm filling up. I don't even think that I'm filling up faster with food. I think that I am more aware of when I am full, and I know when to stop than I ever did like ever in my life. So that is good. So I'm going to make sure I'm filling up with good things. This year I really wanted to take good care of my health, and I've been kind of slacking off on it. So I'll get back to another cycle. I'll get back to doing it like intentionally. And this awareness is an interesting thing, right? So I've been doing headspace. I've been using headspace to practice mindfulness for past years. I think 2019 I started using it, and at first I was like, oh, this is nice, this little practice, you know, just sit down and pay attention to my breathing and counting the breaths and all. But it's really interesting how, and I'm not even like that regular a practitioner of mindfulness, but it's really interesting how practicing mindfulness really makes a difference in this awareness of yourself, of your body, of your thoughts. So it becomes easier to look at myself and look at my thoughts like from the outside and not personalize them. It's not perfect, but it makes it easier, and I'm able to do that more regularly. and look at my feelings, like from not really identifying with the feeling, but thinking, why am I feeling that, and what can I do about it, or what triggers that feeling, and also my body as well. I think practicing some sort of exercise helps a lot with that too. My favorite type of exercise is Pilates, but I don't have the budget for it right now to do it, so I do like yoga at home. I have not been very consistent with that. I hate motorcycles. I have to like start doing it regularly for real, and walking. So that also helps, like, you to remember you are a body as well as you are a mind, and that's really good. This past week I started reading more as well. I am reading. I started another book. I started technically 2 books. So I started yesterday to do something I've been wanting to do a long time. That is to read the Bible, the Message. That is like it's like a translation of the Bible, but not like in the super formal sense. It's more like actualized. It's more like of a paraphrase, but it's faithful to like the original text. So yesterday I started it to read it like from Genesis to Revelation, to read the whole Bible in this version. So I started that yesterday. And I think last week I started to read that book, I Want to Die, but I Want to Eat Tteokbokki. And I don't know if you heard about this book. It became famous because of Namjoon. So he read this book, and it's basically this, the author, she records, I don't know if she still does that, but she used to record everything that she said. Like, she recorded meetings at work, she recorded her sessions with the psychiatrist, and even got me wondering, like, I don't know, like, the confidentiality that is like inherent to the work of a doctor, and how it was like for her to have that conversation with him and be like, oh, I want to, you know, transcribe it and publish a book. But it's a really good book, and it's interesting because like the name is very like strong, right? I Want to Die, like, and she's talking about how she has depression, which I identify with because I also do have depression. But like I feel like she has the same type that I have, that is like, it's not like a super life-threatening type of depression. It's like this slightly it's like this subtle sadness that is in you all the time. So this sadness and this laziness, I guess, you know, when how it feels like you are never fully free from it, and sometimes it gets stronger, and sometimes it kind of seems to have gone away for a while, and it's always there, and it's like a mild depression. And you are functioning, you are doing things, you are working, you are going out, you are living life, and then people don't think you really have it because you seem to be like functioning like everyone else. But it reveals, I think, in little things, like, to me, is my home, like the organization of my home, and parts of self-care, like I said, like remembering that I have a body. I kind of like disassociate from my body, and I've had like health problems because of that. So it she's treating it, and it's very interesting because she's very different from me in many aspects, but at the same time I think the reason why this book was became so famous, besides the fact that Namjoon read it, is the fact that no experience is individual, right? So there's no human experience that hasn't been part of a lot of humans' lives in different capacities, but we all know what the feeling is. So when she talks about her relationships, her work life, and how she feels about herself, her relationship with herself, with her body, her appearance, how she sees herself, it's very relatable, and I really like the psychiatrist's remarks, what he says to her, and I'm liking it. It's really interesting. I feel like life is difficult for everyone, and the more we communicate about it, the more we talk to each other about how we feel, about what makes us sad, about what makes us happy, and about our fears and the things that make us feel shame and guilty. Of course, with the right people. I think that's good for us to get better and to realize that you are not the only one feeling that way. Everyone feels that way. Everyone feels they're not good enough. Everyone thinks they're not the most beautiful person in the world. Everyone has those feelings. So that's a good book. I'm really liking it. And it's helping me with the lowering the bar thing that we talked about last week. Because sometimes I think I'm talking about like my generation, like I think us millennials, we've had this crazy standards, and I think maybe every generation had a type of experience that is similar, but to us we had this very young people like Mark Zuckerberg becoming very rich and very successful with such a seemingly simple thing, and it's like if you work, if you do your best, you're going to get there. And our generation has like this high expectations work wise, and I mean it's we live in a capitalist society, so every generation is going to have this kind of discourse to make sure that you are working yourself to the bone and, you know, giving everything to make sure that rich people remain rich. But I think we've all been having this journey, like circling back and thinking about how work is of course something that makes us feel fulfilled at times, that makes us feel productive, that makes us feel useful. It's a place where we develop a lot of skills. It's a place where we get to know people and deal with all kinds of different people. So it's a great place for personal growth and personal development. Yes, of course. But once again, I think our generation is learning that it shouldn't be the center of your life. It's a part of your life. Your life is so much more than just work. So in this thing of lowering the bar, one thing that I've been learning is that work is work, and I have to sit down and I have to do the work. And even if I don't feel like doing it, even if it's not something I'm passionate about, even if it's something boring, or even if it's something I don't want to do, but it's part of it, because work is supposed to be like that. Work is supposed to be about obligations and about deadlines in meeting standards. And of course that can become abusive, but right now in my job it's not really it's not really a thing. So remembering that I have to I just have to sit and I just have to do it, and that's it. And that is I think a very healthy way of looking at this, because sometimes because this whole idea like that, what is the phrase? Yeah, do what you love and you will never work a day in your life. That is a lie. And no, it's going to be work, like this thing of I've been like creating more content and all. And that is something that to me is enjoyable. It's nice when I like am making it, but there's also the boring parts, like editing videos and editing my text, my texts, and make sure they are cohesive, that they make sense, and I can organize my ideas well, and making sure that our posts that reach more people, that are more like simple and generic, and finding that balance, creating like Instagram posts like for like the images for each, like I found like a nice aesthetic that I like and all, but doing that, creating that is kind of difficult because it's not my specialty, but at the same time it's nice once it's done and I think it looks good. It's nice to see it done, but those parts, they are boring and they are work, and you know, setting up the different websites like YouTube, Substack, and thinking about like Instagram, TikTok strategies. So that always kind of, you know, the nice part is this, like recording, talking, and doing that, and then seeing people like it and seeing people's comments. And another part that I think is kind of difficult is doing it consistently, which has been one of my goals. And yeah, it's work. Work is work, and like having a nice clean house is work, and taking care of your health is work, and all of those things. I watched this TikTok yesterday actually, that she was talking about how discipline has more to do with happiness than the little like pleasures. So for instance, like waking up early and having a good breakfast and giving myself time to like wake up before I have to start working, that may not be as pleasurable as sleeping in, but that is, you know, going to make me happier because I can do better at work, and I have this time, and I can have like a slow, nice breakfast. And one thing that I felt this week, I felt joy thinking about work, because I am like, this week I'm doing well in like crossing the list of things I have to do, like completing my tasks, and that made me feel so happy. And I was like, that's way better than, you know, doom scrolling in order to escape the fact that I have to work. So that's an interesting, very interesting perspective. I watched it yesterday and I even like saved it because I want to remember it, that, you know, it's good to be able to work towards things that are going to make you feel truly happy and truly accomplished. So that's a good perspective. I really liked it. And this links to the next thing, that is, last week I deleted like most games from my phone. I was having a serious phone game problem. there was this game that I downloaded that is like, it's like a kind of like Tetris. And I, like the first day when I downloaded it, I was simply like playing it for eight hours. 8 hours! Like, what? You see, that's a problem. That's very serious. So I deleted most games. I only left like Among Us, that I almost never play, and it demands like, you know, having like a specific time to do it. And Fruit Ninja, because that game, I cannot play Fruit Ninja well if I'm lying down. So I have to be sitting up to play Fruit Ninja, and it's a game that also demands like your full attention, so I can't like watch something and play the game at the same time. And by the way, there was some like update in Fruit Ninja, and I lost all of my achievements. I was so sad. And I have like a time limit to play the game. Like, it's like, you know, you can just, you know, stop everything. But I removed all of the games that are this like second screen thing, that I'm like watching a video and playing the game and I'm mindlessly there. And I'm also rethinking my social media use. So there's this influencer that I follow. She's Brazilian, and she's on this journey this year. So her husband simply deleted all social media, and he's not doing social media for a year, for 2024. I don't know if he's coming back. I truly believe that once you stop, it's hard to come back. Once you really stop, it's hard to come back. So she started doing this 1 week without social media. So in the last week of every month, she doesn't use social media at all. And she works on the internet. Like, she posting on Instagram, especially, that is it's the social media app that she uses primarily. When you work on the internet, like an influencer or some kind, content creator, you have to post regularly, right? The algorithm, for it to work properly, you have to post regularly. And so she talked about it, like, she's aware that not entering like Instagram at all for the whole week every month, that is going to influence on her stats. But I mean, she has a very engaged audience that likes her. Like me, for example, she's one of the very few people that are not like my friends or family that I really go to Instagram to see her stories like every day. And she started doing it, and then she posted these questions. So she says there's like 3 questions that she started asking herself. So the first one is, your use of social networks makes you grow up as a person, makes you sing. That's a good question, because you know, seeing is not only about the really, really bad things, it's about everything that kind of replaces God in your life and replaces and you are seeking things that only God can give, like joy, for instance, in something else that is not Him and that is not, you know, living with Him. And I feel like spending 8 hours playing a game is definitely, you know. So yeah, And after 1 hour in social media, do you live with your soul like more well-fed or more like drained? And that is something that is, I mean, I didn't remove social media apps from my phone. I don't think I have to do that, because the fact is that less and less I am like mindlessly doom scrolling, because I get tired. I only want to see like my friends and some specific people that I follow, and like the first posts that Instagram or TikTok, the first like 5 to 10 posts that they send me are enough for me. They're good because the algorithm is working, you know, it's sending me the things that I want to see. And if it's not showing me what I want to see, I go and I search for the person on the page. I go there and I see what I want to see, and then I leave. And because definitely it makes you feel drained, and it makes me feel like my mind gets empty. We talked about this before, right? Like emptying your mind, but not in a good way, in a bad way. And I don't even follow people. A lot of people talk about how they follow people whose appearance or their house, or you know, makes them feel bad about themselves and makes them feel like they're not good enough. So I don't really think I follow any accounts like that. I've been like unfollowing a lot of accounts. Like if a post shows up and I don't know who that person is, I immediately unfollow them, because if I don't remember who they are, then why are they there? And I am the type of person who follows like a lot of stuff. So I follow like 3,000, you know, Instagram pages, and that is crazy. So I've been like unfollowing a lot of stuff that won't even show up, and even because I'm not spending that much time in it anymore, which is kind of paradoxical considering that I have started creating content now. But I think that, you know, one thing can work with the other. And the last one is your social media use has been making you look more like Jesus. And I had never thought about that, so I don't really have something to say about that. But I wrote it down, and I am like looking at it every day to think about what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So yeah, I'm rethinking that a lot, and the time I spend in social media. And I think it kind of naturally happened that I stopped doom scrolling that much, but then I started playing games too much to replace like the mindless cell phone use. Yeah, so I've been working on that. I feel like that's a pretty, just a second. Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty common movement nowadays, seeing people stop using social media that much and rethinking their relationship with Instagram, especially Instagram and TikTok, they are the ones that like dominate our lives the most. So yeah, I think that this is a very important. I don't think it's only a trend. I think it's something for us to really, really rethink. On that topic, I've started using Substack because I wanted to post more written content, and apparently nowadays Substack is the place to be. And it's so funny how people don't, how can I say, like people are always like comparing things, and when they compare the things, like one has to be very bad and the other has to be great and perfect. So I saw this comedy post that was like ironic, talking about how they replaced they stopped using Instagram, but now they spend 14 hours on Substack notes. That is kind of a Twitter on Substack. And I thought that was so funny because a lot of posts that, like, because I'm new to Substack, and I think the people I follow don't really post a lot on notes yet. So a lot of suggested posts appear, and a lot of them are like, wow, this place is so great. I love notes. Like, suck it, Instagram. Like, this is nice. This is healthy. People are cool. And like, no, Instagram is not all bad. I love following my friends on Instagram and seeing, like, when my family posts something, and like following my friends' lives on Instagram. And I love TikTok. I think TikTok has a lot of great content, and I know that people who don't use TikTok, a lot of them do that because they don't believe that what I'm saying. But I think that the TikTok algorithm first is really good, really good. And I know maybe there's like, but at the same time, I kind of don't mind it that much, because I think that when you think about it, there's really no privacy on social media. Like, if you want privacy, you should have no social media at all, because we had a few years ago the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal. So we know that, you know, Facebook, Instagram, they were selling our data to people. So like, it has happened already, and maybe they are doing that with TikTok as well. But I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like this principle that they started applying to social media in order to sell ads, especially. And that could lead me to a whole, like, other, you know, rabbit hole, because I think it's so horrible to live in this world right now where everything has always been about money, ever in the history of humanity, of course, but like, everything is about advertising right now. Everything is an advertisement space, and that bothers me so much. Like, everything, so you can't go anywhere. So like, even like Pinterest, that was one of the, is still to this day one of the most peaceful social media apps. Even then, on Pinterest, you have now a lot of ads, like, everywhere. I'm trying to remember but like, when you watch a football game and there's all the ads around, and their shirts are full of like logos and stuff, and when you go to the mall, there's like this little places where they put ads, where they put, like, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I have to elaborate that better and talk about it another day, but it's really bothersome, and I blame Mark Zuckerberg for that. I blame Facebook and Instagram for that, because I think they started this thing of like using your data, using your interests in order to sell information to advertisers so they could target you better. And that became, you know, craziness. Like, nowadays, everything has an ad. Pay attention. I don't know if you, I think probably you realize that already, but like, everything's advertisement, and that, like, we cannot do anything like in peace without someone trying to selling us something. That is so weird. Anyways, yeah. So, you know, I really like the TikTok algorithm. That's what I was saying before, my whole range about advertisements nowadays. I really like the TikTok algorithm, especially because that is something that doesn't happen on Instagram. Sometimes they'll show you a post that has like 3 likes and or maybe 0 likes, but it's something that interests you. So you can see something that is made by a small content creator, or even not like a content creator. Sometimes it's just a person there talking about something, and I think that is really great on TikTok. Algorithm works really well, so I find that I receive more interesting content for me on TikTok than I do on Instagram. And even like the reach of videos is better also on TikTok, and I think that's why they're so angry with it. But I mean, yeah, I have this kind of doomsday view to this whole like data thing, because I think that once you enter the internet, it's over. That's bound to happen. So you can leave the internet totally, or not even started, which is impossible nowadays, but now it's too late. There's everything's out there, so you know, it's very difficult to reverse it. And in Brazil we have a pretty like good law around it, but like internet rights. But even so, like our internet law is fairly good, but even so, like, what can you really do? I don't know. Okay, things from last week. I already talked about the books I'm reading, so this week I didn't watch a lot of stuff. I've watched a lot of The Office this week. I am on season 4. And I've watched The Office like the whole thing many times already. It's one of those comfort shows that I'll watch many times over, and it's always great. It's a good companion for working, I think, because it has like the office sounds, like the phone and the typing. So yeah, I love The Office. It's one of my favorite shows ever. And also Psych. I'm on season 5 now. So I feel like the special weeks, like every week I'm on a new season. So I think I'm advancing well on the show. I'm on season 5 now, and I really like this part where his father starts working again. So he's always at the police station and he oversees the consultant. So Sean has to get through him in order to be able to work, and that's that's a great dynamic. Yeah, it's really great. I love the show. It's awesome. Okay, this past week I have watched Bridgerton, the second half of the 3rd season. If I told you already how I feel about Bridgerton, but like, if anything, I think, yeah, no, I'm not a Bridgerton person. There were good things. I really like Francesca art, and I think the Cressida's progression also is really good, and yeah. I like that Violet has a romantic interest. I think that's pretty cool. I think they make a very beautiful couple. But I think they didn't spend much time on this part. And I mean, if there were to be a season where like Cressida appears more, I think I would really like to watch it. But it was okay. It was fine. And this past week I've started finally really watching Hidden Love. So last month, no, in April, I've watched April. Yeah, in April I have watched Everyone Loves Me. It's a C-drama, so it's from China, and I watched it in like 3 days. Because it was so good, and it's not like a super like complex, intricate story. It's a very simple story, but it's so lighthearted. It's such a good feeling. And then I was like, I have to start another C-drama because I always wanted to get into C-dramas. But I've started some, but I don't think I ever finished a C-drama. I think Everyone Loves Me was the first one that I finished. So I started, I think it's I Hear You, but I didn't like the male protagonist. She's Jimin. So I started Hidden Love because it was very much talked about last year. It was very successful. And the protagonist is very handsome, very cute. And the female protagonist is the same girl from I Hear You. And I was like, okay, that's good, because I liked her. I didn't like the male protagonist, but I liked her. Okay. But I had a really difficult time going through the first 7 episodes, so a little bit of a spoiler here. So the story is about this girl who, when she's a teenager, she meets this guy, and he's her older brother's best friend. He's 5 years older than her. And I mean, she's 16 years old. So naturally, if there's a guy who's like, he's handsome, he's nice, he treats her well, he treats her like his little sister, and it's really nice how like he doesn't really have a family. So their family treats him like part of the family, and he treats the family like it's his family, which is really nice. And he treats her like she's his younger sister. But she's 16, so of course she has a crush on him. Of course. I mean, I think that some people said that, oh, that is problematic and all, but that is very normal 16, 17-year-old behavior. Like, if you had a guy like that all the time at your place, you would have a crush on him as well. So I think that's very realistic. I still think that, like, this drama did a good job in not going further this very thin line of, like, grooming, that is, like, a possibility in this type of story. That didn't happen, but because we have seen that so much, because that is so prevalent, like, culturally, it makes you feel kind of weird. So, and I think 7 episodes for that part where she's a teenager and he's in university is kind of, I think 7 episodes was too much. I think that maybe like 2 or 3 episodes at most would be enough. But okay, so the hidden love is the fact that she had a crush on him, and she wanted to go to university in his hometown. She ends up going to university there, and like deep down she knows it's because it's his hometown, but also according to her, it's the best program in the area she wanted to study. So we'll give her that. And like, young girls, they have their goals and they go for it. And that is great about being a teenager when it's like well directed. But once he left back to his city, she thought that she had a girlfriend. He didn't, but like she thought she was his girlfriend. So she like stops it. She likes, okay, now I'm sobering up, and she starts studying, dedicating herself. And then on episode 2, she finally have the time jump. It's 2 years ahead. She's 19, almost 20, and she's doing well at university. She has friends. She's studying. She's having her own life, and she's working on, the beginning of her adult life and being responsible, working, studying, doing her thing. And then they meet by accident. Like, she didn't contact him when she moved there, which I think was a very smart decision, because you never know. So they meet, and he's like, wow, you never talked to me again. And then they start like talking to each other again, and having like meals together, or helping each other whenever they need something. So it's very like smooth, the sequence, and now he's falling in love with her as well. So I think it's very, I didn't think I was going to say these words to describe this, but it was very wholesome. And now she's 19 and he's 24, so, and it's very wholesome. Like, he had, like, his family had a lot of troubles. So his mother has died, and his father is in jail. I won't give him any details in case you watch it. So I think like the first 7 episodes, they may be kind of difficult to go through, because it's like you always have that sense of doom that like something inappropriate is going to happen. But I'm here to tell you, nothing inappropriate happens. And when she's, you know, now that she's at university, and so he had this very like difficult life. He had to pay debts, like his father's debts. So he was working hard and dealing with a lot of, you know, difficult stuff. So I think it's really nice to see that she's like allowing himself to like someone and to think that she can have some kind of happiness, because the story always shows him kind of withdrawing from having like good things in his life. So that's good. And the protagonist, the Sanji, the male protagonist, she's so I love her. She's so like she's kind of feisty, but at the same time she's very responsible, and she's very caring. So she takes care of the people she likes, she takes care of her friends, and she's, you know, dedicated, and she knows everything that she has to do. She's very like responsible, and she knows how to like take care of herself, how to take care of people. She knows her limits. I think she's amazing. I think and that is the cool part, because when he starts like falling in love with her, I'm on episode 12 now, I think. And when he starts like falling in love with her, the reason why this happens is because she's like, he thinks she's still like a child who doesn't know what to do with her life, but then she helps him, she takes care of him, she puts him in his place when he starts like making fun of her, and she feels uncomfortable. She doesn't like when something that he said. She answers back, and she's like, I'm not comfortable with this, I don't want you to make this kind of joke anymore. And he's like, okay. Like, she's all grown up, as much as you can be at 19. So she's a great character. I really like her. And yeah, I think it's a great drama. And he has this Studio Ghibli aesthetic that I really like. Like, he wears a lot of like larger, oversized shirts with the pants, and it's like, it looks like the guy from what is the name? Whisper of the Heart. Looks a lot, he reminds me a lot of the guy from Whisper of the Heart. So I think it's a very similar aesthetic. I'm putting pictures here side by side so you can let me know if I'm crazy or not. Yeah, it's really good. And one thing that I wanted to say about like the difference between C-dramas and K-dramas, it's a difference that surprised me, and it's the like skinship. And I'm not even like, okay, so I'm Brazilian, right? So I think that in the West, like in general, when you tell a romantic story, from the very beginning, the two people are like touching each other a lot. They even like they kiss, they have sex. You know, from the very beginning, it's that. And here in Brazil, like you have that a lot. It's kind of an inevitable part, and we know that, you know, in this type of relationship, the physical aspect is part of what defines and differentiates like a romantic relationship from the other relationships that you have. Yes, but like K-dramas in general, they don't have a lot of it. They have these like accidental moments, but they don't really have, you know, like it always makes me kind of sad sometimes, like they are saying goodbye to each other, or they're very sad, and they don't hug, and like I'm not talking about like, you know, I'm talking about like a hug to show how much you love and care for that person. So they just look at each other, and I'm like, just hug her. Like it's she's going to feel, you know, loved. And to me, that's so weird. That's so weird. And one drama that especially I think depicts that is Summer Strike. So Summer Strike, they hold hands at the last episode, and that's it. And it's an amazing couple. Like, they are great. It's an amazing couple. I love this drama. I love this couple. I love it. But it's so weird. But I think it's a cultural thing that they don't really show affection physically. And also we have to remember that in these countries, the sexualization of women is something that is like, it's like extremes, right? You're either too like well behaved, or it's straight up pornographic and offensive and horrible. So that's weird. I don't know if I'm generalizing here, but it's the impression that I have. Here we kind of have some sort of middle ground in a way. I feel maybe that's one of the reasons. And C-dramas in general, they have more of that, those little like displays of affection. So like holding hands or hugging, and I think that's nice because it's cute, and it's, you know, it's not I don't know what I'm saying anymore, but I feel that it's different, and I think it's really well done. Maybe it's really well done. It's very like simple, but it's not like this extreme where they're not really touching at all. To me, being, you know, South American, it's very weird because you know, to us, like culturally, touching people is a sign of affection, and it's not only like a sexual thing. So I think Asian dramas in general, like the ones that are more popular, they do that in a good way. I think they show healthy ways of physical displays of affection, but I think C-dramas are better than K-dramas in that aspect. Like, it's like they know like the right measure of doing it, and yeah. So Hidden Love is very good, very good, very good. I'm really liking it. I wasn't expecting to like it so much. So going on, I wanted to talk about a podcast. So like I said, I use Headspace a lot, and one of the things that I use it for is I like to do like something like a wind down before I go to sleep. And they have some types of they have different types of content for that. So they have the sounds like white noise. They have different types of like noises. Like they have white noise, they have like brown noise, they have green noise. I think my favorite is green noise. My favorite is green noise. And then they have like bedtime stories, which is nice. Like bedtime stories, but for adults. So they describe it as like nice places. So it's my favorite is Starlight Diner. So it's like someone in a soothing voice describing that diner and what you enter there, what you see, and the type of food and the people who work there, what they were doing, and in a very like calming voice. I never listened to it until the end ever because I always fall asleep. And then I found this podcast on Spotify that is a similar idea. So it's called Nothing Much Happens. And it's the same idea. It's bedtime stories for adults, and she tells the stories in this very soothing voice as well. She always says in the beginning it's bedtime stories for adults. You listen to it, you relax, and then you fall asleep. And episodes are shorter because the Headspace ones, they are like I think 45 minutes long, but hers are like 20 minutes, 25, 30 minutes long. And she writes such nice stories. Like there's this one that I really loved where it's like you get home after a long day of work and then you make hot chocolate, and she describes like you pour the milk and you pour the chocolate and you mix it and then you put it in the mug and then you put some chocolate chips to melt into the hot chocolate. You know, and then you lean against your counter and you drink it slowly, and it's just simple things. It's nothing much happens, just like the Headspace stories, but it's I love it. And she has like, as you go through the seasons, she has like different stories. So now it's a lot of like more summer stories because they are in summer up north, and it's really nice. I don't know if you have trouble sleeping. I think I definitely recommend that you try Nothing Much Happens, because Headspace is like in order for you to really use it, you have to have a paid subscription. I usually pay the annual subscription because it's way cheaper. But if you already have Spotify, and I think maybe like on YouTube, other like podcast players, you're going to find Nothing Much Happens at all. It's really good. And again, I've never listened to an episode until the end because I always fall asleep as well. I think once I listened to 2 episodes in a row, but like only once. Like most times I fall asleep. And she tells the story twice. So she tells the story once, and the second time she tells it slower. And I never get to the second time really. I always end up falling asleep. So if you have trouble falling asleep, I definitely recommend that you try it. It's a really nice podcast. It's really great. It's a really great idea, right? Bedtime stories for children, because that reminds me of my niece, because my sister, she always tells bedtime stories to her kids before they go to bed, and she prays with them. And when I go there, usually my older niece, she sleeps at my parents' house so she can spend time with us, and then we read like two different books, and she always has like her favorite books, and then we read a Bible verse and we pray, and she falls asleep. So I think that is a it's very nice to think of that for adults, right? I always look at my nieces and my nephew, and I think that as we grow up, we forget how simple life is and how little we need. Like, they are well fed, if they are clean, if they had a lot of like playtime and time with their family and friends at school during the day, they fall asleep like easily. They listen to a bedtime story, so they had a shower and they had a little TV time maybe, and they had their hot chocolate or whatever they drink before they sleep, their like warm milk. And I think that as we get older, it's like things get so complicated, like we complicate things so much, right? So they really teach me to seek these simpler things, like, wake up and allow yourself to be functioning slowly for a while because you just woke up, or there's like bedtime habits, like, taking a shower, drinking something warm, listening to a bedtime story. And I've been more consistent with reading before I go to bed as well, which helps to get sleepy. But also something that I changed this week is that I started taking my meds, my brain meds. I started taking it earlier because I was taking it at 7 and I was having trouble sleeping. I've had like for the past month, I think I was taking it at 7, and I would go to bed and I would only, this is my meds, I was only able to sleep like 1:30 in the morning, but now I started taking it at 6, and before I used to take it at like 5:30, so I'm trying to take it at 6 now and see how that goes. So let's see if I can get back to falling asleep at the right time, at the time that is like, reasonable, and not 1:30 in the morning. Yeah. And on the topic of music, today Epik High released a new album, and it's great. I've listened to it 3 times in a row already. It's great. Instrumentals, top notch. I still don't know much of the lyrics because I need genius to have the English translations. Unfortunately, I don't know Korean yet. So, but it's really good. I like everything that they do. I love Epik High. If you don't know Epik High, they are a hip-hop trio. So it's 2 rappers, Tablu and Mitrajin, and a DJ, DJ Tukuts. And the DJ always plays the piano, so they have a lot of like nice piano arrangements mixed up with their songs and sort of a lo-fi vibe. And also they have, of course, it's like rap hip-hop, so they have like heavier songs as well. But I think they're great. They have great lyrics, they have great like production in general, and they're very, very cool. Their interviews are very funny. So they are great. Like, I recommend. I like mostly everything from We've Done Something Wonderful that was released in 2017 forward. I think it's great. Like what they did for Was as well, but they were very like, I mean, they are over like 20. They have a career that is over 20 years old. So they are not like, so they have gone through a lot of different like movements. If I'm not wrong, they started in 2001 or 2003. So like they went through a lot of different like trends and musical vibes. And if you listen to everything they've done, you're going to feel like those changes, that evolution as time goes by, which is really cool as well. But I really like their work. I really like their work in general, but especially from 2017 onwards. They released an EP last year called Strawberry that is really good as well. And yeah, last year they also, or this year, I don't remember, I think last year, they released this one, the single that is called Screen Time with Hoshi from 17. And yeah, everything they release is good, in my opinion. So I definitely recommend. It's good music to work to. It's really good to help you concentrate. And I think the fact that you don't really understand the lyrics is kind of helpful. Beat jazz, one of the reasons why I started listening to beat jazz a lot is also, I think, the fact that I don't really understand the lyrics. So it's more like an instrumental and nice vocals that I'm listening to. But I want to learn Korean. I'm going to tackle that at some point this year. Not ready yet, but it's coming. And Jimin from BTS, they announced that they're releasing a new album. So now we know why he was blonde right before he went to the military. Yeah. And here my list of things to say. I wrote women in South Korea, and I don't know exactly what I wanted to say about that, but I think maybe the skinship thing, maybe, I guess. I don't know what I meant by that. So, well, I think we talked a little about it, but I've read a lot, some women. I read Kim Ji-young, born 1982. I read Pachinko. Now I'm reading I Want to Die But I Want to Eat Tteokbokki. And all of these books are written by South Korean women. So maybe that's it, what I wanted to say. Or maybe I don't know. We'll work it out next week. See you guys. Videos are getting longer, I guess, so only the stronger are going to stay here. I'll see you next week, and yeah, bye.